In this video, we will use an app called GitHub Desktop to clone our repository to the computer. And then after we made some changes, previewed the changes on the computer, we will re-upload the files to the online repository with the same app, GitHub Desktop. Okay, so we could click on the clone and download button again, and instead of download zip, which we did in the previous video, we could, or you could actually just click on open in desktop, because if you haven't used this app on your computer yet, then you should find the same website as I need to look for, GitHub Desktop. So that's Google here. It should be somewhere on the top. Okay, I click on that. And on this website, I should be able to download the app I need for Mac. So basically this, I'm doing that. So if you haven't got this app, or if you haven't used it, by just simply clicking on this, you should get to this page where you can download it. But if for some reason it doesn't work, then you could always find that just by Googling. You could always find that website just by Googling the name of the app. All right. So I can probably quit this, then go to my downloads folder on my computer, and then drag and drop this app to my applications, because that's where the applications are. Of course, you could keep it where it is. Then I double click on this. Okay, and I allow it to be opened. Fantastic. I get rid of the Finder. Okay, so I could either create an account, or, which I don't have to because I have an account already. Then instead of that, let's just click on sign in to github.com. Okay, it opens up the browser and it says, okay, do you want to allow this page to open GitHub Desktop app? Okay, so what it actually asks is whether it can pull information from my GitHub account that I'm signed in with the browser, and I allow it to do that. And what happened is that if you, for example, are not logged into your GitHub account, so you're not signed in to your GitHub account here, if you're signed out, then this probably can't happen, right? So you have to be signed in. I'm not 100% sure about this, but it would seem logical that if you're not signed into your GitHub account, then you can't pull information from your browser to your GitHub Desktop application. Anyway, so you pulled in your username and an email address. This email address might be a GitHub email address that you see here the first time you use it. I guess you could simply just keep it that way, or if you want, just change your email address to the one you associated your account with. Okay. I click on continue. I will not do this now, and then finish. Okay. So on this page, I will have to, for this video, click on the repository that I'd like to clone. So after clicking on it, it's highlighted, and then here the button clone this repository is the one we need to click. So I click on it. The pop-up window has 3 tabs. We don't really need to do anything unless we don't like the idea of cloning this repository in our user folder and documents folder. So in the documents folder in our user account on the computer. Let me demonstrate this. So if I open Finder now, it's a bit too big, and go to documents, this is for me okay for my GitHub repositories to be cloned in. So if I wanted to, if I don't like the idea, then I would have to choose something else here. Okay, but I'm fine with it. So if I click on clone, then this GitHub folder will be created, and in that the first repository will be cloned. Okay. There it is. Okay, great. So my hidden files are shown in Finder. So on a Mac, in this operation system, which is, what is this? The newest one, Mojave. It's Shift Command dot, and then you can see or hide the hidden files. So if you see the hidden files, then you can see that you have an extra folder you downloaded here, that .git folder, which is just keeping information you don't really need to worry about on your GitHub repository. Okay, but please don't mess it up. Don't delete anything from here and don't move anything from there. So maybe that's why it is hidden. Go back. Okay, so this is now the folder that we cloned. So make sure you actually understand that in the previous video you downloaded something, downloaded the repository as a folder and files, and that was probably in your downloads folder, and now you cloned the same files but with another method into another folder, and that folder is usually a GitHub folder located perhaps here in your documents folder. Okay, so if I now open Atom and I can close this app for now. You don't have to have the GitHub Desktop app open all the time when you work on a GitHub repository or in a GitHub repository. So I need to get rid of these welcoming screens again. I tested this video, well, whatever we are going through in this video before, so that's why there is something here in my Atom sidebar. I just remove it just for clarity. This is what you should probably see. And then go back to the Finder, and then the one which was just cloned, right? Definitely not the one which was downloaded before, is going to be dragged onto the Atom screen. Okay, there we are, and we still see in Atom you see hidden files as well. Okay, let's just make a change. So let's just change the index file, maybe the width. Okay, so that's gonna be a bit, maybe that's too much, wider when it comes to the body. And we can see the change if we open the website in the browser. Okay, so this is the homepage we changed, and we can see that the Chinese Hungarian versions are narrower. Okay, so maybe if you like it, then I guess it would be a good idea to change the body of all of these, right? And let's just consider this as something we want to see on the online published website as well. Okay, so then I can quit Atom and then reopen GitHub Desktop. And in here, let's close this as well. In here, we have only one repository, so the one we have is selected. In here, we can see that there was one change made, and that one change is in, well, there was one file changed, right? And that's the index.html file. And here we can see the change. And if we are happy with this, then we can commit this change to the master branch, right? And after we committed, we still have to push it to the online repository. Okay, so we can push with this button or up here. So I clicked on this up there, and what's happening now? It's it's pushing the changes to the online repository. Then I go back to the browser and find, this is the localhost version, the website that is on the computer, as you can see in the URL. So I quit this. This is my GitHub. Okay, I click on the repository. I can see that I made some changes 44 seconds ago. And if I go into the file, I can see that the max width has changed. Okay, so whether I can see this change reflected in the actual GitHub or not, I am not sure. I think it looks yeah, it looks wider. So it's all working. The one thing I'd like to mention here is that in case you need to work, so I guess after this video, perhaps you should be considering using Atom and perhaps GitHub Desktop as well on your computer when working on a website. However, in case you need to make some changes to your website with someone else's computer, let's say you need to go to the library, then it's good to make sure you remember that you made a change to the online repository that you should synchronize with your local host. By local host here I mean the computer version of your repository, this one. Okay, so let's say we make that change. So I go into my index.html file again, and I maybe want to change the line height, or maybe in the library or on my friend's computer, I change the line height from something smaller to something larger. I commit to the change. Okay, and then when I go home and then maybe I just use that button now instead of. Then I am at home with my computer. Maybe I don't have anything open, just the browser, and then I say clone, open in desktop. Okay, so open this repository in my desktop, which is the computer. So I click on it. Do you want to allow this page to open GitHub Desktop app? Okay, allow. Okay, so it opens the application, and it also indicates that there was one change made, and I guess you should know about that change because you made it. But in case you collaborate on a website with someone, then perhaps you don't know that someone else was working on your files. Anyway, if you clicked on this in the browser, open desktop, then you see that there was a change made. So you can see that there was a commit made to your website, and then you need to just pull. So when we were uploading stuff, changes, then we were pushing, and now we are pulling from the cloud, from the online server. So we need to pull this. We need to pull the origin one on the online repository. So we pull this change, okay, pull this commit, and then maybe we review it. We go and check how that looks. Okay, index. So now we can see that the body width remained wider than it was before, and the line height has changed as well. So let's say we don't like that at all, and we want to make changes on our computer. Or let's say we are in the library again, or on or on someone else's computer, and we make another change. Okay, to the index file again. So we make a change that has something to do with the line height again. So we change it to this is going to look ridiculous, but hey, and then we commit to the change, and then instead of clicking on the open in desktop button, right, because maybe we don't have the browser open, we could just open up the GitHub Desktop app. Okay, so I redo it just to make sure it's fresh. I opened it, and when I just simply open the GitHub Desktop app instead of clicking on this open in desktop, then I don't see that there was any change made. And I know that there was a change made. How come it's not there? And that's because when I simply just open the GitHub Desktop app, it doesn't connect to the cloud, right? I still need to connect to the cloud, and that is that I can do with fetch origin by cloud. Here I mean the our GitHub account, and in this case this GitHub repository. So I need to fetch origin, which is just like touch it, see whether there is anything, and that's the time when I can see that there was a commit made that I can pull. So I just pull, meaning I synchronize what happened on the cloud, on the online repository, with the local computer version of the repository. So I did that, and then I go back and hope for the best when it comes to line height not being too ridiculous. So I open the index file, and well, it definitely doesn't look good, but I think it serves the purpose of this video. Okay, so GitHub Desktop, push and pull and fetch. I see you next time.